Hi guys. So I'm getting a little bit of a late start today. Just had some, had life to do. And I'm having to get back on my routine or like my schedule that I had before the holidays. I had going before the holidays. And then this really heavy energy, like everything has just knocked me off of my routine. Yesterday, like we're going to talk about yesterday. It's so funny because I knew that this Saturn and Pluto conjunction energy was going to be a doozy for everybody on like an individual level. But being really aware of what's happening and how everybody is like, we are in our egos right now, you guys. Like if you really allow yourself to let your ego be in control right now, you can get into arguments very, very easily. There's a lot of miscommunication going on. I had to like personally talk several people off the ledge yesterday. Please, 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 please remember a couple of things. And with the moon in Virgo, and I know that's what is doing it, we're going to be pinging, it's going to be like trining all of these planets that are in Capricorn while the moon's in Virgo, right? And it's opposing Neptune today. So everything is sort of an illusion anyways. Everything is sort of like we're all confused. We don't really know what's going on. We don't know what we're supposed to do. And we're all fighting. Like what that, right? And so being somebody who's really aware of what's happening and sort of on the outside, I have to really watch myself as I speak. Or if I'm texting somebody, I use appropriate emojis because I have a tendency to be very, very straightforward when I say things to people, and it can come off as like I'm angry. Or if you don't know the kind of tone of voice that I talk to you in, it can sound like I'm either very demanding or very angry when I'm just being straightforward and honest. Like I like no holds at all, right? I'm going to tell you how it is. It's all going to come out whether you like it or not. That's the way things are going to be, and that's how it's going to happen. So knowing what's happening with the energy, and I hope that I have been able to show you guys and teach you guys enough about what's going on with the energy that you know things are heavy, and you need to become very, very aware of how you are presenting yourself to people right now. Because you're the only person you can control. You can't control what the other stupid MFers are going to be doing around you. Like you can't control their idiocracy. Like you know what I mean? And if somebody comes up and triggers you, you have to be able to be in control of your own emotions. There were several instances yesterday where something popped off, and I'm sitting here like watching it go out of control, get out of control. And this has actually been happening probably for the last week. Like it's been happening all over Twitter, and I've had to unfollow a lot of people. Like it's everybody is showing their true colors. If you are genuinely a really nice person, but you never really look into your shadow side is coming out right now. And you can be like, I don't even know who I am these days. And it's probably because you haven't being true to yourself is also being true to that dark side of you. So when we're not going through these heavy energies, if you're not doing your shadow work or you're not really looking, and shadow work, what is shadow work? Shadow work, that's the stuff that we don't typically tell people. Like I don't show people all of my like dings and all the scars and the scratches that I hold, like all of the things that I feel. For a Virgo, it's what can I improve about myself, and then we beat the hell out of ourselves for not improving ourselves enough. That's a shadow side of a Virgo, right? Like every sign has their shadow side, and every person has an intricate shadow side. It's up to you to find out what that is and to handle yourself. And it's not that I don't, I'm saying to be in touch with your shadow side right now because that's what's coming out. And if you can get honest and you can see maybe my ego is rearing up in this conversation right now and I need to take a step back because maybe this isn't all about me. Maybe this person is telling me right now how I've hurt them. And if I take their words personally and make it about me, that I'm not actually listening and validating their feelings, because people's feelings are not being validated right now. Somebody says something to you, you take offense to it, and you automatically make it your issue and your problem when it wasn't yours. It was theirs. They're saying, you did this to me, right? And when you do something to somebody else and they bring it to your attention, your ego rears up and wants to defend yourself. So that's what everybody's doing right now. I wish I had a chart that I could show you, like ego control. So if you didn't see the energy of the day and the card of the day on, I'm putting up the card of the day and the energy of the day on the community tab here on YouTube. I'm putting it up on Instagram. I'm putting it up on Twitter, and it goes up on Facebook through Instagram. Okay. So if you are not seeing those, make sure you're subscribed in those places. If you're not seeing it, maybe you want to go over there. But today I said something really interesting about having the Virgo moon. And there are 3 things that I want you guys to remember about this energy. And it's not just today. There are 3 things that I want you to remember consistently until things start to let up again, okay? And there's a Mercury retrograde in February that we haven't even started discussing that yet. That's going to be real fun. And so if you can't handle yourself now, when we get into that Mercury retrograde, there are so many things that are going to come back to you. And you're going to have to like reassess, right? So instead of just going along and thinking that everything is, nothing's going to happen to you. I want you to become very aware of yourself in like your everyday and like everything that you're doing right now. And the 3 reminders that I put up for this energy, if it's not working, don't force it. That means relationships. That means ponytails. That means yoga poses. Don't force it. Okay? Like if you're sick right now, please go back to bed. If you're sick and at work right now, please go home. Nothing is worth your health. Nothing else is better than your health, right? And if your job doesn't understand that, it's time to find another job. I know that sounds very small and shallow of me, but you guys know that I am neither one of those. But as I said it, I was like, oh, damn. See what I mean? I have to be aware of what I'm saying because I'm just being very straightforward right now. Like there is 0 filter. I have no filter. I don't have a filter. The second reminder, it's better to be happy than to be right. If you find yourself arguing with somebody about something and it is really of no, like, if it's not really that big of a deal, but you find yourself in the middle of this arguing with this person, even if you know you're right, even if hands down 100% you know you're right, do not. This is like, you're going to find out who's for you and who's against you during this energy, whether you argue with somebody or not. Because somebody's going to say something and you're going to be like, oh, damn, I don't even want to play that game anymore. Like, I am not about that energy. That's what this energy is doing to everyone. The last reminder is not everything is going to be perfect. So leave room and time for the unknown. Okay? Leave space, leave room. That means if you have to leave 15 minutes early to get somewhere, rushing yourself right now will lead to accidents, will lead to mistakes, will lead to mishaps. And right now is if you have an accident or you have a mishap or you have a mistake, this energy is going to be even stronger on you. And there you are learning the lesson. I need to slow down. You see? Because we have the moon, it is squaring Mars. That's a really strong energy. And it can be very, very exhausting emotionally. Because we rush during that kind of energy. And then we're like, oh my God, how did that, like what just happened? And I feel like the days, like it's so funny because Saturn is father time. Saturn rules time. And I feel like the days have started speeding up. It might have been started on Sunday when that Saturn and Pluto conjunction happened. I felt like the days started speeding up. It's very interesting. I felt like yesterday went by really, really fast. I felt like Sunday went by really, really fast. A couple of things to remember if you are having a difficult time right now. I did open up the $30 one question readings. It's a 10-minute video. It's only $30, only one question. I will be sending out those videos on Sunday and Monday of next week. So like less than a week away. So if you are having difficulty right now during this energy, I'm going to send you to do that. Go check out my workshops. The workshops, the one that I did on January 5th that I just did recently, the replay is available, and I'm teaching you how to be in the present moment. I'm teaching you how to start living your life and manifesting from the present moment. When we do that, that's when we become aware of ourselves. That's when we become conscious and aware of ourselves. And that's when we can, and that's what you need in this energy. You need to literally be able to be like outside body experience, looking down on you and being your own puppet and your own guide right now. Like you need to get your higher self into control to be your own guide right now, because that's the only way to stay expansive and productive and successful. And this kind of energy, to be really aware of yourself, is like the goal, you know? And it's so interesting. I think I mentioned this yesterday too, but it's weird to be the sane one in this energy, because in this kind of energy in the past, I probably would have lost it. I probably would have gotten really, really depressed. I probably would have ended up in bed with the covers over my head. But I taught myself and learned through other spiritual guides and teachers, and taught myself how to be aware of me. And the most important thing about doing that is being honest with yourself, looking in your shadow side, looking at all the bad parts as well as the good parts. Yes, I have bad parts too. So the workshop replays are available if you're finding it really difficult to stay sane right now. I'm going to send you over there. The information is in the description box. You can just go to my website, fearlessintuition.net. I'm also doing astrology readings. I've also got openings for readings for the last week in January. Yeah, I've got a couple openings for the last week, which would be, is that next week or the week after? I think it's, I don't know. There are a couple of spots next week too, I think. The cards don't want to come out. I'm talking because the cards don't want to come out. So, okay, there we go. Here we are. Welcome, welcome. Yes. Walking away from the emotional triggers is a really big deal. Your key, that's your key to success. Like literally the cards just came out and said exactly what I said to you guys. The 8 of Cups is that journey of self-discovery. This is releasing all of that toxic stuff, releasing all of the people, releasing all of the baggage, all of that. And then we have the 6 of Wands. And when you allow yourself to be that aware, and you say, oh, this is not serving me, and it's almost like a very matter-of-fact moment. You just kind of realize, you're just like, oh, that's really interesting. Then we have the Lovers. Some of you are having to walk away from a relationship. Some of you are having to walk away from the idea of a relationship. We did talk very heavy about relationships. Some of you have a relationship on the horizon, and you just have a few more steps to take before you get to that portion, that spot. Yeah. And it's so interesting, you guys, because often we hang on to negative and old energy. Like we'll hang on to that very last, like it's like a very thin thread, you know, the last energy cord, the last thread of it all. And we do that because it's safe, right? It's the safe zone. It's like, but if I let this go, What if nobody else will ever love me again? If I let this go, what if I'm alone forever? What if this was my last chance? And so we look at, we get into that fear. We have that last tie to this person. And we get into the fear of, what if, right? We go to the worst possible case scenario because, of course, when you're rationally thinking, you're irrationally thinking. When you are not thinking rationally, oh, for the love of Pete, here I go. When you're not thinking rationally, you're going to come up with every lie, and your ego will lie to you through the fear. Of course you're not good enough. Of course you're going to be alone forever. You have to hang on to this person because what if what if that's your last hope? And this is where you have to love yourself so much that you never allow anybody else to hurt you ever again. In that moment, that last fearful moment of, okay, I'm ready to let go, and I have all these doubts and I have all these fears, but I love myself so much that I know that there's something better on the other side as long as I am aware of who I am, right? So we have the 8 of Cups and we have the 6 of Wands. We have the Lovers. We also have the 10 of Swords. So that's that last chord, right? And the fear of having to release it. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles, slow and steady. Easy does it. Don't skip the steps. Because now you've learned from the past. And there are a lot of reasons why we hang on to past negative energies other than the fear of being alone. I'm aware of that. Like, I know that you guys genuinely, a lot of you are going to look at me and be like, but Betsy, I really do love that person. And I get it. I understand. I've been there. I've been in those shoes before. And in that instance, you can still love, like, I still love the people, right? I mean, when I say that, it's not like I have love for everybody who was on my journey. Maybe I have a bigger connection or a stronger connection with some other than, more than others, but you're not supposed to stop loving. And that's what we think. We think that we're supposed to be angry, and we think we're supposed to be bitter, and we think we're supposed to be like all of these things, right? No. Because when you move on, you're none of those things. When you have finally released it, you actually feel peace. And how do you do that? You love all the way through it. And you realize, wow, that person was a very integral part of my journey, my healing journey. And you thank them for it, not actually in person, right? You thank the energy of them for it, right? So that's the walking away part. That's how you can be successful and walk away. That's how you can integrate the feminine and the masculine together, right? The Lovers, that integrate both of them together. So let's see what the 8 of Cups is. Yeah. And what's really interesting is it the societal standard? Is that why it's hard to let go? Because maybe the whole I'm supposed to be in a relationship, or I'm supposed to be in this place in my life, or this part of my life, or this is what my life is supposed to be looking like. With the Hierophant on the 8 of Cups, it may be more than a relationship that you have to walk away from. It may be a whole standard of life that you've been holding on to, but the relationship was the aha moment or the connection, even if it wasn't, maybe it was just a situationship where you guys weren't actually in a relationship. You just had a very strong bond with someone. But, when you are, when you're in a position of needing to break free or recognizing that you're not subscribing to the same belief system anymore, there is a freedom to that. But you don't, I mean, your whole life basically changes. And there's probably a lot of people that are having to realize right now that the way they thought life was supposed to look and the way it's not it's not looking anymore. Like, you're gonna, in order for you to be successful in this and to be able to rise above the situation, those boundaries, they got to be watertight. That 7 of Wands on the 6 of Wands, that's very telling. Do you want to be successful in all endeavors? You better start putting up your boundaries. And when you voice your boundaries and they don't hear it, and you look at them and you say, what, are you not listening to what I'm saying to you? And they still don't hear you, that means they don't belong in your life. But you have to, like, you can put the boundaries up, but you have to be able to uphold them. That's the victory, right? It's not about how many people you can, like, keep at an arm's length. It's about having the same boundary for everybody. You know what I mean? Because, like, you can have, I mean, obviously they're going to have to be, like, provisions for certain people. But you can have the same boundary. Do not text me, or do not, you know, I don't care what it is. Do not, you know, do this or do not do that. Or I expect you to text me back after a certain time. You have that boundary with everybody. And you tell everybody. And then you uphold it. And if they don't text you back, or they treat you, you know, and maybe it's that you're having to reestablish a foundation with someone. Maybe it's that you're having to walk away from what the idea of what it once was that you had with someone, and now you're having to reestablish that connection, reestablish that boundary, reestablish those foundations. It could be that somebody came back into your life and they showed up differently this time. And there's a very real fear here. That 3 of Pentacles on the Lovers, that's the rebuilding of a foundation. And the 3 of Pentacles is starting at the very beginning. And it's working together as a team. So maybe you guys are coming back together as, like, a force to be reckoned with. Maybe you guys are coming back together as a team. Maybe you are rebuilding all of your relationships in a different kind of way. But there's a very real fear here about losing it all. It's almost as if, as you begin to rebuild a life or your relationships after walking away from a previous one, there's this fear that you're going to, it's like, when is the shoe going to drop? When is everything going to come crashing down? Because it always has in the past. So why would you not have that fear, right? If it's always happened to you in the past, that is a very real and a very validated fear to have. Now, I want to ask you, though, okay, and it could be because of a particular person too. You could be dealing with a Gemini or a Taurus this whole time also, since we have air and earth people down here. This could be because of a particular person in your past. And that could be why you're scared to put yourself out there, because it ended so badly. But here's the other thing, is this could be that the tie that you have with the King of Swords on the 10 of Swords. This could be that person that you have that last energetic tie with that you really need to release, and you're very scared to release because what if? But you've created this new life and you're building this new foundation and you're building it from the ground up. And when you do that, it becomes that's the healing process. You know what I mean? Putting up your boundaries, reestablishing your foundation, after walking away from the system that held you hostage for so long. There was somebody that was a part of that system for you. And this doesn't have to be your old life that you were in. This could be a whole new belief system that you came into when you went through your spiritual awakening. I leave myself open to interpretation every single day because I know my belief system is constantly evolving and changing. I am not set on a particular belief system. I will not say that I'm Buddhist. I won't say that I'm Christian. I won't say that I am anything except for me. I am a child of God, right? But there's this connection that you have with your past and what you used to subscribe to. And there's a fear of if you release that into the ether, that it won't boomerang itself back. And that's, I mean, it's okay to have that fear. It's natural to do that. But what if we took the fear out of it? What if we just released with love? And we said, even though I am afraid, I'm going to trust that everything will be fine. So let's do the Knight of Pentacles, because it's almost as if now, as you move forward on your journey, you see how you want things to be differently. Look at that, King of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. So we have an air sign here and an earth sign, Taurus and Gemini, it looks like. So with the Chariot and the Knight of Pentacles, as you move forward on your journey and you can look back into the past and you can see the things that you did that you would change, you would do again, now you have that opportunity. I've recognized with this Saturn and Pluto conjunction, there were a lot of things like 4 years ago. There were a lot of things that changed for me dramatically about 4 years ago. And my whole life turned upside down and I lost everything. The only thing I really had left was my kids, and I did have my job. And then I decided to do this. And when I decided to do this, it was all so rushed. I knew that it was my purpose. I knew that if I didn't jump on the chance at that moment, I don't know why I knew this, I just did. But I knew that if I didn't jump on the chance at that moment, then I would probably never get that moment again in my life. And so I did. I have that energy within me to look fear in the face and laugh at it. That doesn't mean I don't get afraid. It means that it's a challenge. And I always say challenge accepted. Are you kidding me? But that's not always the best course of action to take, right? Because literally I will look at fear and I will say, ha ha ha, I can beat you. And then sometimes I make a whole lot of decisions all at once, and it's very chaotic. And during that time, you're not really thinking straight anyways, because you're going through this huge transformation through a spiritual awakening. So you get to a point of clarity. You get to a point, and this happened to me, I'd probably say it was like the beginning of this year is when I sort of when things started to make a whole lot of sense again. Because for a while, nothing made sense, okay? And I share these stories with you guys because I want you to know that you're not alone. Because I know I'm not the only person that's been through this. That kind of jolt, if you will. A huge, like, reckoning and tower moments all over like, more than one tower moment a week. Like, I know you guys have been through that. But eventually you get to a point of clarity. Eventually you get to a point where things start to slow down. And you look back at this mess that you've created. You look back and you're like, wow, I was a hurricane for 2 years. I was just here and there and over and under and blah, 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 and doing all the things, right? And you get to that point and you think, all right, now is when I slow down and I start with step 1. And you're so aware and you're so consciously aware that you're at step 1 that there's no other place to be than present. You're not in the future anymore, and you don't even want to look at your past because, ew. Like, I don't want to admit that I did all. And I just did admit that to all of you guys. But it's real. It's reality. This is what we go through, right? This is what happens to us. This is the process. And you heal up all your parts, and you decide that you are going to look at the past and you're going to say, I'm not afraid of you anymore. Because I've proven to myself more than enough times that I can get through this, because I've gotten through so much. And it's made me who I am today. And now I can just start moving forward. And there's no question about it, right? But you have to get there first. And how do you do that? You become consciously aware. And how do you become consciously aware? You watch my workshops. Watch the replay of my workshops. I'm telling you guys, I would not push them onto you to do that if it wasn't working for me. And what's beautiful about it is because I have taught it now, because I learned it, I owned up to it, and I taught it. Now I get put into situations where I have to really, really master it. Like, I thought I had it mastered before. No. This energy really proved to me that I can create my own abundance and my own happiness that is my birthright. Because everybody else is losing their shit, and I'm in my happy little bubble, my happy little world, everything. And you know what? And the thing is, it's not that there aren't bad things or there aren't like perceived negative things happening. There's a lot of unexpected stuff that's been going on with me. There are days where I'm so tired that I can't even get out of bed. The difference is my attitude about it. Because I look at it as a learning opportunity. I look at it as, all right, I can either freak out about this, or I can either be really, really hard on myself about this, or I can look at it in a completely different way and just be okay with it. And know that it's just another part of my journey. And a big part of that is not letting shitty people into your space. If you are surrounded by shitty people, your attitude will be shitty. I guarantee it. You cannot, like, you can even go in with a good attitude for some people, and they can turn your attitude right around into being shitty because they're that negative of a person. And if you have that around you or in your space, if you have that at work, you need to put up a sign that says no negative shitty attitudes in my workspace. I actually had that in my cubicle before I left. That was one of the signs I had up. Only positive energies in this workspace. I know, I'm a brat. I'm always teaching, always teaching. So if you guys need me, I'm around. I love you so much. Come join me on Twitter and Instagram. I know I keep saying this, I'm going to be working on the February readings this week and next week. I'm going to put the end of January in the February readings. So you guys are going to get January and February together. Thank you for your patience. And I love you guys so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye.